What the Teacher Taught, a Dvar Torah for Parashat Terumah. In his book, My Grandfather Was a Rabbi, under the entry, "This is what the kindergarten teacher taught us," the late Uri Orbach reveals in his cynical way that all our misconceptions are the kindergarten teacher's fault. It is because of her we think Adam and Eve ate an apple. She taught us that the two tablets had round heads, and it's her fault we think the reason for covering the challah during Kiddush is so that the challah won't be offended. And to all kindergarten teachers who were now offended, I will point out that also Orbach was aware that this is an act of collective escapism, and society should take more responsibility for its lack of education. And although the topic I chose to discuss was taught to me by my third-grade teacher, I am interested in tackling another myth taught to me as a child and examining its truth. According to the verse in the Parashat, the menorah had 3 gvi'im meshukadim raising from each branch of its base. According to the Talmud, it isn't clear which part of the branch was meshukad, but I'm more interested in what the word meshukad means. My dear teacher taught me in 3rd grade that these were almond-shaped decorations engraved on the menorah, and that's how I understood the pasuk for 3 decades. To my great surprise and shame, however, even though I've learned the parasha with Rashi and Onkelos many times over the years, only now have I noticed that this is not the way they interpret the verse. Here's what Rashi had to say. Meshukadim explained as Onkelos has in his translation mitzayrin, painted, like silver and gold vessels are made using sulfur. This according to Otzar Lazi Rashi. Rashi, following Onkelos, explains that the word meshukad describes how the pattern or painting was created, using sulfur, and not its physical structure. With all honesty, Onkelos and Rashi's choice to not explain the term the way I knew it is understandable. After all, if I draw a bunch of apple shapes, have I applauded? Unless they were really good, I guess. And I have yet to find the dictionary that defines appearance as the art of sculpturing pears. On the other hand, we do use the term floral to describe a shirt embroidered with flowers, and the Mishkan was me'odam, meaning red ram skins, so who knows? I'm still not sure as to where Onkelos found the word shaked to mean paint, but we'll get back to that later. But if Rashi wasn't my teacher's source, then who was? Well, it could be that it was Ebenezer, but not necessarily the way we'd expect. Ebenezer teaches in his longer commentary that according to Rav Sadia Gaon, Meshukadim means almond-shaped. But according to Ebenezer himself, the term is probably closer to lishkod al daldotai. That is, my teacher taught according to Rabbi Sadia Gaon, but Ebenezer disagrees with her. Unfortunately, this leaves us with a couple of new issues to deal with. The first is trying to understand the term lishkod al daldotai, and the second is confronting Ebenezer's long commentary with his short commentary, as we will do immediately. In his short commentary, Ebenezer says meshukadim, almond-shaped, and there are those who say, like, he shoked ani al devari la'asoto. As opposed to the long commentary which brought our commentary in Rav Sadia Gaon's name, this time Ebenezer brings almond-shaped as his own, and he then adds a completely new explanation, as there are those who say, leaving us with 2 conflicting opinions in Ebenezer's understanding and a whole new meaning waiting to be explained. This is where I'll try to put things back together. I believe that shoked ani and lishkod al daldotai have different meanings referring to different aspects of the almond. Shoked ani al devarai is explained by many commentators as Rashi explains vayigmol shekedim, as swiftly as the almond tree grows, which is the first tree to bloom, meaning quickly. On the other hand, most commentators interpret the verse shoked ani as to keep or to preserve, another characteristic of almonds familiar to anyone who's ever seen one. The shakeheadiness of the menorah can easily be explained in either or both ways. We can say that the shaked was engraved directly on the menorah, filling the observer with the fulfilling feeling of fleetness because of the proximity, or at least that's what the Mahadir claims. Or, as some say, the purpose of the engravement is to preserve the present as the purpose of paintings and pictures, bringing us back to Rashi and Onkelos. And we have left only to summarize, my teacher's explanation was not without a source. This is not the way Onkelos and Rashi taught. We understand Onkelos through Ibn Ezra, and maybe we can applaud apples as pears appear. If you feel that you learned something, why don't you share this video with someone else? Maybe they'll learn something too. As always, I am Dovi Holtz, one who loves Tanakh.